we're checking out the Flowmaster Outlaw Direct-Fit Muffler for the 2023 and newer 5.0 F-150s with the factory dual exhaust. If you want a deeper, louder sound and maybe a little more snap when you hit the gas, then this is going to be a clean and simple upgrade that is definitely worth checking out. The key feature here is going to start with that Outlaw sound, so let's get right into it. This one is going to earn a strong 4 out of 5 on our Wake the Neighbor scale. The Outlaw series is the most aggressive tone from Flowmaster's lineup, so you're going to get a strong growl on the throttle and a tough rumble at idle. One of the only ways to go louder is with no muffling at all. This unit is a direct replacement for that stock mid muffler, and it hooks up to the factory dual tailpipes. So you keep the factory layout while freeing up the airflow. It's built from stainless steel and uses large 3-inch piping for better breathing. On trucks like this, you can expect snappier throttle and a little more pull through the mid-range. Many owners go this route when they want a real sound and a bit of performance without cutting, welding, or buying an entire exhaust system altogether. When it comes to the construction on this is made out of high quality stainless steel with a black powder coat finish to fight rust and handle daily use. The bends are smooth and the seams are clean, and the chambered Outlaw muffler is set up to flow well and live a long life. It's made to clamp right into place of that factory piece, and the fitment lines up with your stock hangers and tailpipes, so everything fits straight and rattle free. And if you stick with me, we'll show you that install here in a minute. When it comes to the pricing on this one, it's going to come in right around that $500 price range. For stainless construction, an aggressive exhaust note, and a true direct fit swap, it's a solid value if you want big sound change without the cost of a full catback system. When it comes to the install, this one's getting rated a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can have this installed in about 2 hours of your time. Now let's see exactly how that install process works with a video from one of our AmericanTrucks customers.
Not a lot of tools are needed for this job. If you have some basic stuff at home, that'll do. Would say because you're walking around the pipe, the flex head ratchets and the gear wrenches really helped, although you can use power tools, air ratchet, electric ratchet, impacts. Pry bar was nice to have just to help with persuading some of the items to move where you want them to move. Of course, a cordless light so you get good lighting underneath, and a dead blow hammer if you need a little bit of extra help to get something in place. All right, so to give myself a little bit of room, I'm starting by jacking up the truck just a little bit. Gives me a little more space to work in down below. And I've also placed some just some shop towels over the tops of the stock exhaust, so as I start to loosen up components of the exhaust system, I don't put any scratches on the bumper or the pipe tips themselves. Now the included instructions say to lubricate all the clamp hardware, let it sit for a little while, assuming that you may live in the Midwest and you've got some rust or some corrosion that might keep this exhaust together. This is a new truck, so we're going to skip that portion. I believe all this is going to come apart really easy. Starting in the back of the system is where the duals come into the outlet of the stock muffler. As you can see, there's 2 clamps there. Following back along the muffler, we come up further and there's another clamp here which ties the stock muffler to the stock resonator pipe, and then further up there's a flange to the split exhaust coming from the catalytic converters. I'm starting in the back, loosening the 2 clamps that hold the rear of the stock muffler to the rear exhaust pipes. These clamps are mounted with the nut facing up and they're spot welded onto the pipe, so they're a little bit of a challenge. I chose to use a gear wrench to get in. Once they're loose, they become even more loose fairly easy. Go ahead and run those out until the clamps are fairly loose and they're no longer binding with the pipe. Now remove or loosen the 15mm nut that is on the clamp holding the stock muffler to the resonator pipe. Just like that, until the clamp is loose. Now to give myself some room to slide the exhaust back eventually once everything's loose, Rather than trying to work this hanger out of this grommet and bracket, I'm going to go ahead and take out these two 10mm nuts here and just take the whole bracket down with it. Okay, that bracket just drops off and swings out of the way like that, and we're going to go over to the other side and do the exact same thing. Behind these clamps, going to the rear exhaust pipes that come out the back, there's a little tang that sticks out here on the rear pipes, and it has this little molded tab that has to be bent out of the way to clear that tang and allow the exhaust pipes to come loose from the stock muffler. Using a long screwdriver with a skinny tip seems to be getting in here pretty well, at least on the one side that I've gotten under, and I've gotten both tabs pulled out now. On the rear outlet pipes, there's another 10mm bolt for the last rear hanger that holds these on. I'm going to take that off rather than try to work the pipe out of the grommet. It is a little bit stiff, and you need to be able to twist this a little bit. Okay, just like that. Finally, on the front side of the muffler, rather than pulling this grommet and hanger off of the hanger rods, go ahead and take out these two 10mm bolts here, and we'll just take off the whole bracket to make removing the muffler a little easier. Once this bracket's out of the way, the one holding the rear of the muffler can then slide backwards, and the whole muffler can come off of the resonator pipe. One thing to note on this resonator pipe, you will have to give it just a little bit of a twist. There's a groove in the pipe with a tang that sticks into that. You'll have to just rotate it slightly into the opening and then slide that back. With that front hanger removed, go ahead and grab a hold of the muffler, start to give it a little wiggle and twist while pulling backwards, and remove it. Alright, here's a side-by-side comparison of the stock muffler out on the far side, and then this is the Flowmaster Outlaw. There's only one thing I'm going to transfer over. You can see the factory hanger locations are very similar on these. I'm going to go ahead and take this bracket and grommet off, the one that we unbolted rather than pulling off of the hanger before, and transfer that onto this piece here. Looking at the differences between these two mufflers, I ended up taking off the stock clamps and starting those onto the Flowmaster to reuse. One thing I did do is turn these around so that in the future the nuts will face the bottom and are a little more accessible if I ever want to take this back apart again. When you put the muffler back into the truck, start the rear hanger first and then slide the pipe into the resonator, and then put the bolts back in for your front muffler mount, and that'll hold it in place while you're working. With the muffler back up in the truck, go ahead and get the rear pipes put back in, and to aid in that, put in the back hanger brackets. I left mine finger tight for now. I'm going to go back and install the rest of the hangers, such as the ones that go right behind the muffler here. There's a hanger right above here. I'm going to bolt that back onto the frame, and I'm going to leave all of my clamps back here, as well as the one up at the resonator loose until I'm finished doing that. Once you have the other hangers bolted back in place, come back to the very rear, tighten up your rear brackets. Do this on both sides. 2 10mm nuts. Something to note is you install these rear hangers near the tips. This bracket that we loosened earlier can actually be angled to decide how far up your tip goes, so that as you're trying to get the same look from the left and right side looking at it from the rear, you can adjust it up or down based on that. And then if you need to, there is this rounded clamp here where it looks like they've flared the pipe, and you can actually move this pipe and adjust it to the left and right until you get it centered and until it looks the way that you want it to look. All right, once you have the exhaust tips where you want them and adjusted, go ahead and tighten the two back clamps on the outlets of the muffler to the back pipes, And notice these clamps were turned upside down before we put the muffler back in, so we had easier access to tighten these back up and take it apart in the future if we ever want to. Finally, once you have the rear clamps installed and tightened, go ahead and tighten down the resonator to muffler clamp, and that is the end of it.
All right, that wraps up our review and install of the Flowmaster Outlaw Direct-Fit Muffler for the 2023 and newer 5.0 F-150s with the factory dual exhaust. And for all things F-150, keep it right here at American Trucks.